You know what's scary? Space. Space is fucking terrifying when you think about it. There's places in space that are so far removed from essentially everything else that if you were to be put there, you wouldn't be able to see anything besides yourself. You wouldn't be able to see stars or galaxies or anything because you'd just be so far removed. That is fucking horrifying. So it's no wonder that subgenres such as cosmic horror have really played into the sheer, cold vastness of the universe. From stories of ancient gods made by H.P. Lovecraft to the isolationist terror of Alien, the horror genre sure loves how spooky space can be. But leave it to the internet to take the term cosmic horror a bit too literally. There's an unusual trend within creepypastas and internet horror as a whole that has sprung up within the last few years. That trend being the idea that not only are cosmic bodies alive and sentient, but are also massive haters. I'm guessing this trend started with people taking inspiration from Romina or Unicron or something, but it's kind of evolved since then. Off the top of my head, I can think of like 7 series or stories based on the general concept that the moon or the sun or some random ass planet is maliciously trying to murder humanity. And obviously, there are some series that play into that idea better than others. But, like always, you can count on the citizens of Reddit to prove that no matter what subject matter they tackle, they are instantly the worst at it. The story I have for you today is the lowest point in this odd subgenre, titled "The Moon is Very Angry." And I hope you enjoy that title, because I swear to God, it won't be the last time you hear it today. Now, it comes from r/NoSleep, the Hans Gruber to my John McCain. And before we jump right into it, I gotta warn you guys, this story jumps around like a cricket on meth. So if at any point during the summary you feel a bit confused, don't worry. Everyone is confused. So, without further delay, let's just jump right into this fucking thing. Our story begins with our nameless protagonist detailing a night that happened during the summer of 2012. On that warm evening, the southern Pacific Ocean began to glow a brilliant silver. He continues, saying that the light was so wonderful that even his old TV couldn't hide its beauty. He says that you remember this event as well. Deep down in your little monkey brain, you remember it, and that you need to remember it, because the moon is super upset. He explains that everyone in the world remembers it, and thousands of other weird memories, all slightly different in terms of perspective, but all revolving around the same events. Those events being the countless times that the moon was genuinely peeved. He says his memory of that warm night was hearing a loud thrum, which is a fantastic onomatopoeia, before the liquid light in the Pacific spread and drowned the world, leaving nothing but light and the moon. The first time the moon was extremely pissed. You'd also remember the second time that the moon was irked, which was slower than the first, taking months, and we'll come back to that point later. The moon used its cosmic moon powers that apparently it has to make weird blade-like lightning that fried the power grid across the world before absolutely glazing the earth in its liquid light. The author thankfully spares us the repetition of the next 3 times the moon was exceedingly irate, skipping to the 6th time. Apparently, the moon learns from its mistakes, which is a bit odd because its last few attempts seemed pretty successful. So this go around, the moon cuts out the middleman and just shoots us with fucking lightning, like it's Emperor Palpatine, before once again plastering the earth with liquid light. So apparently, the narrator managed to dodge that money shot, and then says we outran the moon. So, Now we get to my favorite part of the story, which is, of course, the multiversal nonsense. A multiverse of madness, if you will. Because, just like Doctor Strange 2, this sucks ass. The narrator elaborates that there are an infinite number of realities, each reality a thread in an endless ocean of threads, a sunset sky of realities. And yes, the author does use 3 different metaphors to describe this in the span of 2 sentences. And yes, I am upset about this. Very angry about it, even. He continues, saying that the realities can be unimaginably different, but the ones directly next to each other are basically the same. So, basically, in this one, the Monopoly Man has a monocle, and in this one, the Lions beat the 49ers and went to the fucking Super Bowl. So, in addition to that, he adds that the moon, or at least the evil magic moon, only exists in one universe at a time. So, please add that to the growing list of things we're gonna go back to at the end. Because, oh fucking boy, I got some shit to say about that. Anyway, the narrator says that the way humanity has been able to escape the moon before has been by swinging from one reality into one of the neighboring realities, absorbing it into their own. Which, I guess, doesn't bring the moon with it, because if you're absorbing the universe, doesn't that mean it's one? Whatever. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, bio. That sounds pretty crazy. How did humans manage to merge universes together to escape from the moon? You know, the moon that's shooting lightning at them. How does the narrator, explain how people did that? And you know what the funny part about that is, audience? They don't. Literally, it's never elaborated on. The narrator says you should, meditate or do DMT to remember the many times that the moon was tremendously fuming. But that's about it. Is that really all it takes? Doing ayahuasca allows me to transcend between realities? Apparently. Or maybe just remembering that the moon can shoot fucking lightning at me is key to inter-universal travel. What the fuck are we talking about? The narrator explains that he and thousands of others have dedicated their lives to building bridges between universes, and that outrunning the moon is the most important work in the history of humanity. But they've messed up along the way. Our universe has swallowed thousands of universes as we've run from the moon. Still don't know how that works exactly. We've weaved so many threads together. As any knitter will tell you, when you weave too many threads together, you make a knot. And eventually, that knot will snap. Fun fact, one of my D&D players is a professional seamstress, and I asked her if this analogy was accurate, and she said that wasn't how that works. And actually weaving more threads together makes things stronger. So, shock, horror. The moon is especially wrathful again. This time, it's with solar storms, which I guess it can do. The moon uses its dark wizardry to burn the atmosphere before blasting the earth with its liquid light. After giving the earth a facial of light, the moon transforms into something that has won. But, has it? Apparently we just jumped ship again. Unless it's counting every time it goos all over us as a win. Then I guess it's currently rocking a, 100,000-0 record against us. Continuing on. Apparently, we can't jump between universes anymore. The threads we've weaved together have become a Gordian knot of universes that apparently can't absorb anymore. Because, seemingly, the few 100,000 jumps we've made has poisoned the entire infinite multiverse. And there's nowhere else for us to go? What? The narrator reiterates that while there are unending universes, there's only one moon that's constantly learning. And then the author copy-pastes the opening line of the story, and we circle back. Tarantino style, baby. Let's fucking go. But yeah, the narrator explains that you have to remember that the moon is exceedingly indignant because there's no more threads left to jump to. There's nowhere left to run. He then explains that there are definitely still places you can run to. Literally. He contradicts himself in the next paragraph. Holy fuck, are you serious? He explains that there are strands that were in the frayed threads of reality, which I guess is a really literal metaphor, and that these strands can house a couple people, so you can go there and hide. He warns that some of the worlds you travel to, through like DMT or something, will be evil nightmare worlds, and that he'd try to help you find a cool world, one that's not evil at least. But I guess he's too fucking busy doing more important things because he can't help you find the good worlds, and it literally says that in the fucking story. He does say that any world is better than the worlds that the moon is absolutely nettled in. So hopefully you'll travel to a universe with rainbows and puppies and not the one where the ground is made of broken glass and you're constantly getting set on fucking fire. But I guess none of this matters because it's only a possibility that the nigh omnipotent Lovecraftian moon god doesn't find you eventually. So who cares, I guess? Set on fire every 30 minutes or rolling around in fields of flowers, there's a 99% chance that the moon is just gonna jizz on you anyway. Anyway, he reiterates that the moon is going to show up in our universe and be significantly... One sec. Vexed? Yeah, I guess that works. Yeah, it's gonna show up and be vexed. So, it'll arrive some night soon, and the stars will seep liquid light and drown the earth once more. So you gotta remember that the moon is outstandingly crossed, because there's not much time left. Except for, the fact the story was posted 3 goddamn years ago. So I guess the moon is taking its sweet time this go around. Anyway, yeah, that was, the moon is very angry. And God, I have a fucking bone to pick with it. So let's just jump to the surface level problem with the story before we get into the real nitty gritty goo goo gaga nonsense that I'm gonna fucking talk about. So, I don't think my summary really did this story justice. I don't think I truly captured how headache-inducingly irritating this story is. Like, I checked. It's not just me. When I was writing the script, I was thinking to myself, I might just be... this might just not be for me. I checked. I got my co-host Link, and I recorded his reactions to the story, and like... of that light.
Wait.
You remember... What?
They weren't wrong. It was the full moon.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Wait, wait, yeah, they were... No! They were right. No, you were wrong.
We were wrong. We were wrong, except that's exactly what happened.
We were wrong. It wasn't the moon. It was the moon. You see, the moon always learns from its mistakes. Well, actually, these seem to be very successful. I don't know what kind of mistakes...
What do you mean a mistake? It destroyed the world.
It won.
Yeah, a mistake would be like, it lost.
Yeah, we stopped it from frying the earth in that one, but no. Or how we outran the moon that time. Only that somehow we did. This will sound insane to you.
So this is just...
Yeah, no.
Because at first they were saying, oh, he did it. And he's like, I don't know how we fucking survived. Motherfucker, Whoa. It was you. It was you. You did it.
You. Or a half-remembered product line vanishing into the ether.
Oh, fuck off.
Maybe a familiar logo is inexplicably altered. Our beloved cartoon is missing an article of clothing.
This motherfucker, Grunkle Simpson.
The moon was angry a 7th time, and an 8th, and a 10th, and a 20th, and a 100th.
Is he repeating how many times the moon was angry?
Yes, he is.
Oh my god, shut up. I'm not gonna lie, if this was written by the dude who made Candle Cove, I would have just assumed that Candle Cove was a fucking freak accident.
like a mistake, like he did actually mean for it to be good. Not. I know, you fucking explained this to me like 7 times.
Thank you, asshole.
It's so frustrating to read. There's a couple reasons as to why that is, though. Namely, holy shit, this story is fucking repetitive as fuck. The constant re-emphasizing of the fact that the moon is in fact still fucking angry gets annoying so quickly. Like, I understand the moon isn't feeling particularly jolly today, but you don't have to reiterate it like every other fucking paragraph. Listen, I get why it's there narratively, author. The narrator is trying to drive the point home, because if he doesn't, the moon is going to spray me with liquid light. But Jesus, after the 6th reiteration of the exact same phrase with the exact same wording, it almost feels condescending. Like the author is jingling keys in my face to try to keep me attentive. Which is a justified concern, because this story is hard to fucking read. It jumps around so much. The majority of it is either the narrator regurgitating nonsensical lore at me, or it's brief descriptions of examples of the moon killing the earth in various ways. And the brief descriptions are particularly infuriating because I'd much rather be reading about a story from the perspective of someone trying to survive in one of those worlds. You know, where things could be happening and I could be invested and there can be tension rather than having it retold to me after the fact in the span of a fucking paragraph. It's like if, instead of Jurassic Park, following Dr. Grant around as he tries to survive velociraptor attacks and shit, the story was Dr. Grant sitting in a chair talking directly to you about how bioengineering is bad, and then every once in a while, during the middle of like a speech, he'll look at you directly in your face and he'll go, I know bioengineering is bad because one time a resurrected T-Rex nearly crushed 2 kids in a car in front of me. And then refused to fucking elaborate further on that. And then just went back to talking about how bioengineering is bad. Like, wait, no, go back. I want to hear about how the moon is shooting lightning and less about how the fucking Mandela effect works. I know why it's written like that. It's because it's all on r/nosleep, so it has to be roleplayed in the comment section as if it's real. And it'd be pretty hard to fucking roleplay if your story ends with, and then the world fucking died. But if that's the case, why write it on this platform? And if you want to write on this platform specifically, why write something that can only logically end with a fucking supermassive apocalypse? All this shit that I'm about to talk about for the next 6 minutes. The nonsensical multiverse nonsense I'm going to tear apart could have been entirely avoided if the story just ended with, and then the moon ate the earth. If you wanted to write a story about the moon being a Lovecraftian god, why not just write that? Have it end with the logical conclusion of the moon kills the earth, and then just posted it to the Creepypasta wiki or something. You could have had an actual story about an apocalyptic event with characters and stakes and tension. Something that this story desperately fucking needs. It literally could have only improved the story. I get it. The then everyone died and I posted this ending is cliched and annoying. But is it not preferable to having to weave this nonsensical web just so after you post it, you can respond to comments like, yeah, it was a real tragedy how all those Earths in the multiverse got eaten by the moon, but thank God, through the power of fucking multiverse magic that I have for no explicit reason, I managed to swap everyone from one universe to another. Was it worth it? Was sacrificing a potentially interesting story for a couple more upvotes and a reading by Dark Sodom worth it? Writing an info dump about the Mandela effect with occasional glimpses of potentially fun stories that will never get elaborated on further was worth it for that? No. Instead, we get a multiverse story. So let's look at all the problems that spring up because of that. So I've mentioned the little tidbit about how the story tries to explain the Mandela effect. Almost wrote catalog there. Fucking, the internet is a disease, isn't it? You may be wondering why I've been doing that, because in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't seem like that big of a part of the narrative. And to that I say, you're correct. Until you think about what the Mandela effect is, and then think about the story being presented. So, the Mandela effect is a multiversal concept that entails that people misremembering something. For example, Nelson Mandela dying in the 80s, or the Berenstain Bears being the Berenstein Bears. It's not because they're humans with monkey brains that just remember things incorrectly sometimes. It's actually because they're from a different universe where actually Vader does say, "Luke, I am your father." But you see, the Mandela effect only works in a specific type of multiverse, known as a quantum multiverse, wherein every action an individual makes spawns a separate universe where a different action was taken. Essentially, imagine you're taking a test, and you get to the first multiple choice question. Congratulations! According to the quantum multiverse, you just spawned at bare minimum 5 new universes. One where you choose A, one where you choose B, one with C, one with D, and one where you flip the table over and you throw your textbook directly at your professor's head, or something along those lines. Get the picture? This is the type of multiverse that the Mandela effect could work in, because it's based on the minute details of the universe being different. Mascots with slightly different designs, cartoon characters with slightly different surnames, yada yada yada. Now, why did I just explain quantum multiverses to you? I'm guessing most of you knew this kind of stuff already, because there's been like 6 multiverse movies in the last 3 years. It's not exactly an unpopular subject matter in this time and age. Well, it's because now that I've laid that out to you, how the fuck does any of this story work? The story states that there are an infinite number of universes, but they can't escape the knot because there's no more universes to jump to. But based on the type of multiverse that this story needs to take place in for the Mandela effect to be a thing, then there would be billions of new universes branching off of each thread every single second of every single day. There'd be so many new universes constantly appearing that there'd be literally no way for the hoppers to not have more universes to jump to. An ant could decide to turn left instead of right, and you'd have 2 new universes. There's literally no way. Even if we say that this multiverse doesn't work like that, which wouldn't make any sense given every single piece of information we've been given about how this multiverse works, there's still an infinite amount of universes. It's stated in the story multiple times, and the highest number of jumps given to us in the story is hundreds of thousands. There's still billions of universes out there to jump to, if not more. 100,000 sounds like a pretty big number until you compare it to a billion, much less literal endless infinity, like the story is constantly telling us there is. On the subject, this started December 19th, 2012. That was, at the time of typing this, 4,091 days ago. For us to have made even 100,000 jumps between universes at my current date, let alone the time it was published, humanity would need to be jumping from one universe to another once every hour, constantly. And that doesn't even make sense because the moon takes its sweet ass time sometimes. Literally, in the second jump, it took literal months for it to decide to goo us. Oh my fucking god. Also, speaking of the fucking moon, in the story, it states specifically multiple times the moon only exists in one universe at a time. But if that's the case, when someone in the universe that the moon is shooting lightning at decides to run away from the lightning, that action would spawn a second universe. But the moon only exists in one universe at a time. So what's the dude in the second universe running from? Nothing? Or does the moon have an ability to stop new universes from being spawned from the one it's in? But if it can do that, then how are we universe hopping away from it? If it can stop literal universes from being made, then isn't it nigh omnipotent? And can't it just instantly find where we are anyway? Why is it letting us jump away? Is it fucking stupid? Clearly, it running away from us isn't something that it likes. The story is literally telling us the moon's emotional state every 3 fucking minutes like it's a Tamagotchi. It's so fucking infuriating because Literally, as soon as you start thinking about the story and what it's presenting to you, it's like taking a flamethrower to a house of cards. And you realize that not only is the story annoying to read because it's repetitive, boring, and it's teasing you with ideas, actually compelling storylines, it's all completely nonsensical. It's goo goo gaga gibberish that doesn't make any fucking sense. Also, what the fuck is up with this narrator? The fuck you mean? You don't remember how you jumped universes that one time. According to my very 5th grade level math I just did, you do it literally every hour of every day. Did you just have like a brain aneurysm and forget for a fucking second? Also, how do you do it, narrator? How are you building bridges to other universes? I'd like to know, because apparently knowing how to do that is the only way for me not to get murdered by the moon. Not immediately, at least. I know I'm supposed to take drugs to remember about the moon, but you specifically said that you're a part of a couple thousand people that make bridges. Percentage-wise, I'm probably not part of the 1,000, so like a little step-by-step of how to do the thing that makes up the entire reason you're writing this post would be kind of fucking appreciated. Fuck this, man. Cut to the fucking end. I'm done. Reading this and thinking about it made me feel like I was grinding the wrinkles out of my brain with sandpaper. This is flat out the most annoying thing I've ever read. Not creepypasta, not story. It is the most annoying thing in general I've ever read. And I am not being hyperbolic. It's repetitive. It's nonsensical to an astonishing degree if you even use your brain for 2 seconds to think about it. And worst of all, it cock teases you with descriptions of things you'd much rather be reading. Stories set in interesting settings with unique threats and conflicts before immediately whiplashing you back to the most insultingly dull, stupid info dumps I've ever seen, as we've established, that aren't even internally consistent. 13%. I wouldn't wish this story on anyone. I'd call down a plague before I subjected anyone, besides Link, to any of this fucking drivel. Fuck, I hate Reddit. Anyway, thank you all for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. Next episode is another fan suggestion, and oh man, is it not good. Much like every other story I've ever looked at. Which reminds me, if you have a story you want me to read, drop a suggestion in the comment section down below, or shoot me a DM on either Discord or Instagram. Links in the description for both. I'll see you guys next time.